Hey guys, welcome to BLONITY. First, my little disclaimer, this is not financial advice, my own opinion and estimates. My estimates could be completely wrong. Don't trust, always verify, understand the numbers, be aware of scammers, and you know the best how to invest your money. Please be aware that I'm invested in a lot of mining companies and also Bitfarms. Yeah, and in this video I want to talk about Bitfarms and the recent financials they released for Q3 2021. But first, let's check the chart. Bitcoin, is consolidating right now here at approximately 60,000. When we go to the short-term charts, we can see that the price here, the lows are going lower here, but on the RSI here, it's going up since a few hours here. So that seems like a bullish divergence. So hopefully this plays out and we are seeing the bottom here, and starting the rise after. But who knows? We don't want to make price predictions here. Let's look at the chart of Bitfarms. So since last year, an incredible rise. I mean, down here we were at 27 Canadian dollar cents or 30 cents, and we are now above 10 Canadian dollars. So that's way more than a 30x. Since approximately 14 months or so. That's huge. Recently we had this breakout here out of this triangle, and Bitfarms, I mean, every miner has its own characteristic when it comes to charts. So Bitfarms is like shooting up, go down, shoot up, go down, and so on. This time it's holding a little bit better here, so I'm hoping here for something like a bull flag to move up again. You know, I hold a big position in Bitfarms right now. It's right now my biggest position in my portfolio. And so it would be nice if we don't consolidate down here, but I think it depends now on Bitcoin, whether Bitcoin starts to rise or Bitcoin continues to go down. Then it's likely that Bitfarms will also maybe go down a little bit. But in the last few days, Bitfarms was one of the best performers here. It was holding strong at these high levels while others started to consolidate. Okay, so let's move on. They released the news here, huge quarter here for Bitfarms. They mined 1,051 Bitcoins. So like more than 350 Bitcoin a month here. The production cost, so this is only electricity. This is important. This is, as I understand it, no maintenance and all this stuff. So this is really the break even for electricity. So that's $6,900 per BTC. So that is very, very low. It really shows that the Hydro-Quebec prices, electricity prices, are approximately at 4 cents. I've calculated this. So the prices are very fixed there, and in the conditions we are right now with rising electricity prices, this could be a huge benefit for the hydro energy portfolio there for Bitfarms. So they're over 2 exahash now, 106 megawatts, so that's huge. And they have a lot of things in the pipeline in other countries like Canada, Paraguay, Argentina. And the big goal is 8 exahash at the end of next year. At the end of this year, it looks like they will go to 2.3, 2.4 exahash or so if everything works well. Okay, so let's jump into the financials here. First of all, the assets. They have a lot of cash, or they had a lot of cash here end of September. So right now they also have these 500 million ATM ongoing. Right now I think they use something like 110 million Canadian dollars or so. So let's say approximately 100 million US dollars. There's still some room to offer here and to dilute a little bit. For sure. I mean, Riot Blockchain, they used all the 600 million ATM. Bitfarms not so far. I like this a little bit more because the stock has potential a lot more to the upside. So when you dilute higher, you get less dilution when the price is higher, and I think that's a wise move here. Assets 222 million USD. More than 100 million US dollars here in digital assets, so that's nice. Not that big liabilities, so overall a strong balance sheet here. Revenues close to 45 million USD. That's a huge increase here. I really like this one. The cost of sales are at approximately 15 million. So they are all reporting different here. For example, here is the depreciation part of this cost of sales. So yeah, I think the depreciation is something like 6.2 million USD. That seems low compared to some competitors, but as I'm aware of, Bitfarms is leasing some miners, so that's maybe also a reason why the depreciation here is lower. So the operational costs without depreciation should be like something like close to $9 million US, which is also very nice, and a gross mining margin of 82% then. The G&A close to 11 million, so that is a little bit high here. Yeah, it was also in the last quarters. And I've checked this, the 14A. So 7.5 million out of this is salaries and stock compensation here. I mean, Bitfarms now has, I think, 100 employees or even more. So it's a big company, so they have to pay a lot of salaries there for sure. What would be really interesting for me would be the ratio between the salaries and the stock compensation program. So that's 7.5 million, so that's a little bit high, but all the others things in the G&A are okay in my opinion. Also, we have the revaluation here of 14 million USD of the coins there they held. So Bitcoin was rising from June to September, of course, and it's now a lot higher again, but that's not part of this here. So the operating income is 34 million. Net income 34 million, huge net income, really like this. Yeah, and the income tax expense, well, that's huge with 11 million, so that hurts a little bit. Recovery, yeah, so we're at a net income and total comprehensive income of close to 24 million USD. So basic earnings per share is 14 cents. Yeah, so I think the results are very good. Of course, we have seen a lot of dilution here from Bitfarms, and it will continue. We had 1 year ago 84 million shares. Now we have 176 million shares. So that's more than 100% dilution. But on the other side, the stock since December 13th, where I started my first miner comparisons close to 1 year ago, it is, yeah, since then, it is the best performer with more than 20x since this date. So yeah, I mean, it looks like the dilution was worth it, but yeah, always keep an eye on this. They will dilute a little bit more, or not a little bit, they will dilute more because of their ATM, and they need cash to build all these new facilities and to buy the miners there to come to 8 exahash at the end of next year. So yeah, they need cash for them. So that's for sure. Question is, when do they dilute? That's more important for me. Do they dilute now, or do they dilute when we reach the cycle peak? No one knows where it is, but I'm expecting it a lot higher than now. That would be nice to wait with more dilution until the price is a lot higher. Okay, yeah, so let's move on. I don't want to bother you with all the details here, but it also makes sense to read this kind of stuff. Overall, good results. I'm thinking right now about new metrics to compare miners and so on, in addition to my BMXI. So for example, when we estimate they had 80 megawatts and 1,600 petahash in this quarter on average. I'm not sure about these numbers right now. I have to check this again. So that's 13.1 BTC per megawatt, or 0.66 BTC per petahash. So these are numbers I will track in the future and compare the miners here. Also, I was calculating backwards here the electricity prices. So with 80 megawatts on average, 90 days, 24 hours, and yeah, multiplied with 1,000 to get from megawatt to kilowatt. Yeah, you get something like 1.7. Sorry, or is it? No, it's 172.8 million kilowatt hours if they have 100% uptime. So I think these are the electricity costs, 7.25 million USD. So if you divide this by this, you get 4.2 cents here, US dollar cents. So yeah, that's the price they had on average here when you calculate 80 megawatt. If it was 85 megawatt, yeah, it would be even lower. Yeah, so I think, yeah, they are approximately at 4 cents, and yeah, that's always good to backtest these kind of claims there. Yeah, let's move on. So I like the financials. G&A a little bit high, but operational costs very low. So that makes sense to me. So they upgraded their fleet, or they expanded. Bitfarms is one of the most aggressive when it comes to expansion. So they're now at 2 exahash with 106 megawatt of power with 4 cents here. So right now the revenue should be at 680,000 USD per day, with the gross mining profit of 580,000 USD. So the electricity cost should be approximately 100,000 here. Yeah, on a monthly base, that's 20 million on revenue. So yeah, multiply this with 365 days. The daily, we're at 240 million USD in revenue right now. They're achieving there with a very low cost. So yeah, that's nice here for Bitfarms. Also, they're mining right now 11.2 BTC a day. Also, they have a new presentation here. I really like this one. I've to check with the other miners, but today it's Bitfarms. By the way, I will talk today to Ben Gagnon, the chief mining officer from Bitfarms. I will interview him. I will post it on Patreon first and a few days later on YouTube. So that's going to be very exciting. We will discuss or talk about the expansions and the new facilities and so on. Hopefully we get a good talk there. But yeah, when we see the quarters here from Bitfarms, they increased their market share. So from 5.8 Bitcoin a day in Q3 2022, we are now at 11.6. So they doubled, despite rising hash rates and so on. So we can see the aggressive approach here. They have 10 farms operational and development, and we are now above 400 megawatt plant capacity. HODL is 2,800 approximately right now. Yeah, the market value, you can see in the financial it was at 100 million. We're now at close to 200 million. So that happens when Bitcoin rises, and that's why it is important to HODL in the bull market. Yeah, so they have a new farm here in Washington State. We have seen a picture. It's a 24 megawatt farm here, hydropowered, acquired in November. Replaced hosting agreement, and they want to expand it to 75 megawatt, or they had the option there. And I was thinking, I remember these kind of huts here. Yeah, and I remember there was a company a few years ago which was called Gigawatts in Washington State, and they went bankrupt, and that was in the bear market, I think, a big topic then. And I researched a little bit today, and yeah, I think I found a new location. I'm not 100% sure, so this is pure speculation. Don't take me serious here. But it could be in Wenatchee, and the Wenatchee region there, or the city there. Somewhere here in this area. I think that's an old picture. That's why we don't see them here, these huts, because these are other buildings. But it makes sense that you build a mining facility here. Yeah, and there's also the Columbia River, and they have a nice hydropower plant here. So this is the Rocky Reach Dam Discovery Center. Yeah, so maybe first check the picture of the gigawatt thing here. So that's the huts here. You can see it here with the 3 filters here on the vertical. So to me it looks like, yeah, could be taken here, the picture, or here. And it's also in Washington State, so could be not. So let's get back to the hydropower. We have the Rocky Reach Dam here, a big hydropower plant. Rocky Reach Dam here, it's 1,300 megawatts, so that's huge. So there's a lot of electricity there. Also, I think the biggest dam in the USA is the Grand Coulee Dam, also in Washington State here, with the 6,800 megawatts. I think that's in the north there. Yeah, so that's exciting here. Bitfarms has now Canada. They're moving to Argentina, to Paraguay, and now to Washington State. So they're really diversified here. Okay, yeah, so that's the power plant thing. Yeah, again, I said Bitfarms is outpacing the hash rate growth, but when we look at the 1 year hash rate chart here, we can see there is not so much growth here so far. From 120 exahash now to 170 or so. That's not that huge. Of course, it is because of the China exodus. But yeah, I'm expecting, and a lot of other analysts, they're expecting a huge growth in 2022, like we had in 2018 after the bull cycle peak for Bitcoin price. Then the hash rate goes up because a lot of people are cashing out of Bitcoin and they say, okay, I go now mining because it's so profitable. They will buy all the equipment at peak prices and they will plug them in, and then they will be unprofitable and will go bankrupt again. So this could happen too. That's why you need these established miners. They know how the bear market is, how hard it is. And yeah, maybe they already survived the bear market. For example, like Bitfarms or Hut8 or Hive, or also Argo. They are very experienced in this kind of stuff. And yeah, that's also why I like these guys. Okay. Yeah, so this is the Bitfarms thing. But let's continue with the presentation here. So that is the Washington farm. Of course, we have Covansville in Quebec, Sherbrooke in Quebec. And here they're building these new facilities because they're moving out with the 30 megawatts out of the city. They're using new facilities here. We have the bunker. Yeah, that looks interesting. And we have Ledger here, also a farm. So they're under construction here, the 78 megawatts, and an additional 18 megawatts are planned. I think they're looking for a location here because they have this 96 megawatt agreement. Yeah, it doesn't look like these buildings were built to be mining farms. I think they're repurposed now because they were looking for these buildings. Yeah, then we have Paraguay, the 10 megawatt farm here. They expect the build out to be completed within next month. Start of production before December 31st, so that's interesting. So we are in Paraguay here. Here you can see the substation here. Yeah. Then the big thing here, and yeah, this is the make or break thing here for Bitfarms, the Argentina facility. It's 210 megawatts, one farm, 4 buildings. So this is next to a natural gas fired power plant there. And it's 2.2 cents per kilowatt, price locked in for 4 years. So that's a very low price, approximately the same price as Hut8 is paying for Valida's power. They say like 2.7 cents or so, but in Canadian dollars, so it should be the same price. So very, very low cost here. And they're not connected to the grid. By the way, I think we can see here in the background the power plant. So it seems like it's a little bit away from the power plant, but with a direct connection there because they don't want to use the grid. Yeah, because their voices also in Argentina, like everywhere in the world, they say, yeah, they're using the grid too much and so on. What these people don't understand that Bitcoin miners, if they're built properly and at the right location, they can stabilize the grid like Texas is doing, and you can build out renewable energies, you can build overcapacity, use this overcapacity for the base load of Bitcoin miners, and when there is a shortage of electricity in the grid, you can shut them off, and that's the huge advantage for Bitcoin miners. Compared to a Google data center or Facebook or whatever. The most important thing for them is to have 100% uptime. So they need big redundancy and so on. You cannot cut them off. But a Bitcoin miner, if he gets compensated from the electricity grid or something like this, he can shut down the miners for 15 minutes or for 1 hour, no problem for him. So it's like a battery, and you can use this overcapacity. Of course, it makes sense that it's a big part is from renewables, like in Texas. That's what I really like there. But yeah, it seems like not all countries are that smart than Texas. Okay, so Argentina is big. Also, they will get a lot of new miners here in Q3. Yeah, Q3 is completed. In Q4, 3,679 to date. And they want to get an additional 1,200 in the next 2 weeks of November, and then I think that's it for this year. So they could be at 2.3 exahash at the end of the year, and then the big growth starts in 2022. So it would be with 4,000 miners delivered monthly from MicroBT Watts miners. So it would be nice, of course, for Bitfarms is if the bull run gets extended in 2022, so they can benefit even more from this growth. I mean, when there is bear market, that doesn't mean that the miners will be unprofitable all of a sudden. They will be profitable for a while, but at the bottom of the bear market, and I think this will happen again, the profitability goes to zero for a period of time, for a few months or so. This is not going to be a problem for our miners here because they are now well capitalized, so they can survive this and even hodl the bitcoins then, I think. But for the newcomers, they pay too much for the mining equipment and so on. For them, it's going to be very hard. But that's also the time when you need cash to acquire other mining operations, and I think that's what these guys will do. Okay, so yeah, mining revenue, more BTCs, more revenue, of course, gross mining margin also growing because they now have more efficient miners. So the overall efficiency is now like above 20 terahash per kilowatt. It's above now, and it's going to 25. EBITDA, of course, huge here, 40 million. It's interesting that the adjusted EBITDA is lower than the EBITDA. I think, maybe due to the revaluation of coins or so. Not 100% sure about this. Strong balance sheet. Yes, they raised a lot of cash here. A lot of new facilities, and I like this aggressive approach here from Bitfarms. Okay, guys, so that's the Bitfarms news. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Auf Wiedersehen.